Welcome to AI for You, the go-to podcast for higher ed professionals looking to integrate AI into their daily work. I'm your host, Brian Piper, the Director of Content Strategy and Assessment at the University of Rochester. Join me every other Thursday for practical uses of AI within higher education communications, marketing, and student engagement. We'll focus on ways to quickly integrate AI into your teams to increase your efficiency and effectiveness and help you optimize your workflows and processes. I'll interview experts and feature relevant use cases with the goal that every episode gives you at least one thing you can take away and start leveraging in your job today. AI for You is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome to AI for You. We are coming to you live from the AMA Symposium for the Marketing of Higher Education. Today we are joined by Brandon Etheredge, the Director of Digital Content Strategy at Auburn University. Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
So tell me a little bit about how you're using AI at Auburn.
Yeah, I use AI in almost all of my work, really to try to take processes that used to take so much time and shave a little bit of that back so I can do things that are more higher level thinking, things that have a little bit more impact. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is using it to atomize our content. When I came to AMA 3 years ago, that was one of the big things I took away was this idea of getting as much as you possibly can out of each of your pieces of content, which is great, but it also takes time to do that and figuring out what pieces I'm going to pull and how I'm going to use it. And AI has been super helpful in going through the content that our team is creating and helping me figure out quickly how I'm going to break that down and use it in different ways.
So when you're doing that, what process do you use to select the content that you're going to, repurpose and redistribute? And then what tools do you use? And then what's the process of actually getting it to give you the new content?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm primarily using ChatGPT and the free version. So anyone that's out there that's listening, I'm not paying for it, so you can do this too. A lot of what I found really helpful, especially, we talk about hallucination in AI, and obviously we don't want to have that happen when we're trying to reproduce our content. So a lot of what I've done is I'll take, transcripts from interviews or finished videos that we've done or the finished copy from the articles that our team has written, upload all of that and say, use this to give me X number of posts for this platform or this, or if I have the transcript, pull out a bunch of, maybe 5 or 10 quotes that speak to the student experience or that speak to alumni success and see what it gives me back as a really good starting point to know, okay, this is where I need to look in the transcript, find exactly what I'm looking for.
And so how do you integrate that into your team? Are you just the only one doing this, or do you have other people on your team that you're working with to also help with this process?
I am the only one doing this. So I oversee all of our social, all of our photo, video production. We used to do a podcast. We don't do that anymore. And I do a lot of our media pitching. And so we're a really small, really scrappy team. And that's where this has come in handy so much is it's almost like having another person there to work with me to take so much of this off my plate so I can jump back into the things that I can't have AI go take a picture of the class for me. So I have to be there in person to do that. But this allows me to quickly just go in and have it pull stuff out of those transcripts. I don't have to spend 30 minutes reading back through the transcript. And I used to go through and, a yellow highlight meant it was going to be a story quote, and a blue highlight meant it was going to be a video for this. And now it kind of goes through and pulls some of that for me. And it's not always 100%. And, I think we talk about that a lot with AI. It's like, you need to go back into your research and make sure you know what you're seeing. And there's been a lot of times where I'm like, I don't really love the way this social media posts look. And I will say one of the biggest dead giveaways on when I have had student interns and I've taught some of this, and I can always tell when they've just got copied and pasted out of ChatGPT because there's 6 different emojis and it always says the same sort of words. So for me, a lot of it, I use it as a starting point. Like, okay, yeah, that's a really good jumping off point for this social post or to take it this direction for this audience. But really, finding those key messages, key points in transcripts and in the audio files we have has been super helpful.
So I know one of the things that we'll do sometimes is we'll have it create like 7 or 8 different versions of something, and then we'll kind of pick and choose and put those together. But it just keeps you from having that blank page syndrome where you have nothing to start with.
Absolutely.
So that's where really having it, perform part of a task or at least get you started is incredibly helpful.
Right. And that's, I think it never negates having the person. Like we talk about that a lot in several of the sessions we've had today, AI, people worried that it's going to take their jobs. And I don't think there's anyone more secure in their job currently than the writer on my team. She was out for a couple of days and I really needed to pull something together. I was like, I'm just going to throw the transcript in and see if I can get an AI to write me a story. It was one of the worst things I've ever read. And so she came back and I was like, don't worry, you have job security. And she's like, you trying to replace me with a robot? I was like, I really was not trying to do that. But, it really does still take that human that understands the people that we're working with and the environment we're working in. And, I can train AI all day long, but it's never been to Auburn. And it doesn't fully understand the intangibles of our campus and how things play together. And so the people are still super important, but it helps supplement that when we can't get extra lines in our budget for people that we need to do things.
Right. And so being, a small resource and being a person wearing many hats, how much time do you think you're saving on average per day, per week, whatever, using AI?
I would probably say, if I'm just thinking about a normal, let's say, feature story that we have, I'm probably saving on every story an hour or two with the amount of time that I'm going through the content we're getting ready in the next week or so to put out our magazine. And I heavily use AI to start. It's 12 or 15 stories we're dropping all at once. And so trying to build out that plan, a lot of it has been putting that content into ChatGPT and getting all that information back. And I'd say compared to what I did last year, we're looking at right at coming up next week, we'll have the magazine out and all of my socials already done for it versus I was working on it well after the magazine came out last year, just because it's so much of a lift to get that content.
Right. It's so great at just automating so many of the things that we do, and just 70%, 80%, is a great start to go into.
One of those things too that, I'm not a data analyst. I don't want to be, numbers scare me, but being able to pull all of my data out of Sprout, put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, this is some context for, whatever the time period is. And I think last week when I did it, it was, the first 3 quarters of the year. And I was like, I'm planning for Q4, what recommendations, basically give me an analysis of what I've done and what I can do next. And it spits some stuff out. I was like, oh yeah, I love that. That makes a lot of sense. The analysis was really great. But there were a couple of things like looking forward. I was like, I don't know that that would work just based on this experience that I have. And I was able to change those things, send it to my boss and say, hey, this is where I'm headed for Q4. Just wanted to kind of give you the backstory. It's like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like, I'm going to take this to the dean when I talk to him and kind of show him where we're at. It would have taken me, and I can remember when I was doing this on my own, trying to patch this together so long. And God help, my numbers probably weren't right because I was doing all the math by hand. And it just gives me so much more time to actually do the work versus trying to tell someone 3 levels up what work has been done.
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing about using ChatGPT is when you don't take its recommendations, it doesn't care.
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't hold that against you.
Doesn't get its feelings hurt and everything's good.
Right. So we know that this technology is moving rapidly. It's advancing quickly. What do you see in the future that excites you about what AI might be able to start doing for us?
Yeah, so one of the things, and it's kind of sort of already in existence, it's in beta right now with Adobe. So I'm a photo video guy originally, and the ability to extend clips by a couple of seconds to give you that half a frame that you need to finish off your project, I'm so excited about. We've been doing that a lot, and I'm sure a bunch of your listeners have too, where I've got this great horizontal photo that I need to make some room on the top so it can turn into a vertical photo that I can put a quote on or whatever. And I remember the first time right after that came out, it was probably a year or so ago. And my designer was sitting there, we were playing with it. She had just come back from Adobe Max. And we had this picture of Washington, D.C., the ornate architecture. And there was this picture from a rooftop from an event that we had. We just expanded it up and made it, a vertical photo. And it perfectly finished off all the architecture. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is game changing. Like, this fundamentally changes how we can do our work. and gives us so much more ability to use the stuff that we already have. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that roll out more into video, because I've been in that case so many times where it's like, oh, my camera trailed off. If that would have only been a half a second longer, we'd have been golden. So I'm really looking forward to playing with those tools.
Yeah, I think we spend so much time looking at, the LLMs and the AI tools that are out there, but we're seeing AI integrated into all of the tools and all of the solutions that we already have. So, from a marketing standpoint, from a graphic standpoint, all of those tools are getting supercharged with AI features. And the ones that they're talking about, the new ones that they're teasing, are pretty spectacular. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's moving so quickly.
Sure.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing some of your information. If people want to stay in touch with you, where's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, I would love connect with me on LinkedIn. Always on LinkedIn. It's my favorite social media platforms. Search Brandon Etheredge. You can also reach me at my university email, brandone@auburn.edu.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being on the show, Brandon.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of AI for You. I hope you found at least one useful thing you can take away and start adding to your workflows and processes today. Remember, the key to making the most of AI is to keep experimenting, keep learning, and of course, keep creating. AI for You is a part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to become a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Artis Kadu, Day Kibbles, Shane Baglini, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.